with autism participate in every aspect of the community. This series will highlight some of these individuals, families, and community engagement projects. Come with us on a journey to meet people making a difference to build a more welcoming community.
Welcome to the series, Autism in Your Community. I'm Patricia Rossi, and today I'm joined by the Center for Autism and Related Disabilities at the University of South Florida. And this is my panel, and they're going to introduce themselves.
I'm Shelton Gilliard.
Pleased to meet you.
I'm Melody Pla.
Hi, Melody.
I am Diego Pla.
Hi, Diego. So I'm starting with Shelton, Lucky Shelton today, and I wanted to ask you, who do you serve? Who does CARD serve, and who do you fund?
CARD is a state-funded program
Okay.
Administered through the Department of Education, aimed at providing direct assistance, technical assistance, resource and referral, and also special projects for individuals and families impacted by autism spectrum disorders.
Okay, and the children with ASD, do they find it is it more difficult for them to do physical activities and PE or simple things, even working out?
One of the hallmark characteristics associated with autism are repetitive movements, non-functional movements. So some of these things can be problematic for children wanting to play team sports like t-ball or golfing, for example. These things require the students to be still and active so that they can pay attention to the instructions. And these, some of the core characteristics associated with the diagnosis can be problematic for them in terms of accessing different types of physical activities. So not just team sports, but even recreational types of activities can be challenging for them in a lot of different ways.
And what is the most basic one that you see over and over? Would you say was something as simple as throwing accurately? What would you say it is?
Many students lack the motor planning, which would be throw the ball to the coach, for example. Lack the ability to actually carry that very simple task out, and so it has to be taught to them in a discrete kind of way sometimes. Some students can do it very, very well, but other students have difficulty in that area. So that will be something that will be a challenge, but could be taught if it were done in a systematic kind of way.
Wonderful. And what are the health care issues or concerns?
Well, we know from some of the national statistics that 17% of the U.S. population of children 2 to 19 years old are obese or overweight.
Wow.
And the literature also indicates that children on the spectrum are at increased risk for overweight and obesity because of sedentary lifestyles that they oftentimes live, not being able to access traditional forms of physical activity. Some of it's parental fear and lack of community awareness and being able to access traditional forms of physical activity. So all those things together make it a pretty complex task to access something that's readily available in the community.
That's what I was going to say next. Why does CARD think it's important to address these issues? If you had to say the top 3, why is that so important to address it?
Awareness is very important. By making folks aware that this population needs to be able to access their community, just like you and I, is critical. There's still a lot of unknowns associated with the diagnosis. And so when we talk about living a healthy lifestyle, it's not just eating right, exercising, and those types of things. It's also about being able to have options within your community, being able to go to the movie theater, for example. And one of our other projects trains businesses so that our families and individuals impacted by autism can go to the movie theater and it be a successful situation for them to go and have that as an option.
And as far as you have to walk, every time I go to the movie theater, I need a lunch just to get to the door.
You and me both.
So you're getting two birds with one stone. How about that?
Yes.
Okay. Well, what are some projects, some health-related projects CARD is involved with?
In recent years, we've engaged in different types of health-related projects, and we call those special projects, as they're not what we traditionally do on a day-to-day basis. One of the projects is the Autism Health and Wellness Symposium, and we developed that project in 2010. And what it was originally about was to bring awareness about these health-related topics.
Okay.
We touched on issues such as feeding. We touched on issues such as general nutrition, sleep challenges, gastrointestinal issues that a lot of our constituents were presenting as challenges, and invited presenters in to share their expertise around that particular issue. Since then, we've been successful in taking that particular event and hosting it in 3 of our other counties, Polk County, as well as Hillsborough and Sarasota counties.
Oh, wonderful.
So we've taken that event and moved it about our region, about our catchment area, with success. As another addition to that event, we also provide autism screenings. So folks may have some concerns about their child being at risk for autism. We've offered and provided autism screenings on site during that day. So families can, in a sense, gain this level of expertise as well as address some of those initial concerns around the risk of autism being present with their child. Another that we've done is we've created different types of print materials to raise awareness as well. Our director gives us great latitude with kind of bringing forth some of the concerns from our families, from our work with families like the Pla family who's here with us today, and really kind of help us address these concerns in a systematic way. But we were successful in creating a brochure that would be distributed to hospitals that would educate them about the core characteristics associated with autism, and then also just 1 or 2 strategies about how they can make the medical environment be a little bit more autism friendly.
That just is all the difference in the world. Just 1 little step or 2 little steps, wouldn't you say, Melody? Just 1 or 2 things. What's been the impact of these projects, as you're telling me, on individuals, family, and the community?
It's had a significant impact. One, as I said, we've been able to be mobile with some of our special projects and take those projects and screenings and things like that to different communities that are off the beaten path, so to speak. We've brought the resources to folks that are in need of it. Oftentimes they need it the most. So it's had a significant impact in that we've been able to do that. Another project that we've done is this past summer we did a summer direct assistance project, and as I said, there's a lot of health-related topic areas that impact this population. One of them is accessing and being physically active, as we said a bit earlier, and so we wanted to provide some of our constituents with functional physical activity during the summer months when there's not a whole lot going on. They're off their routines in terms of school, probably eating things that they traditionally wouldn't be eating.
Like we do, yes.
Just like we do. So
yes.
we set up a direct assistance project that was aimed at teaching some of the sports and fitness related activities that a student would need to be successful in team sports. So we talked earlier about the motor planning that a student would need to be able to participate in t-ball, the core strength that would be necessary to kick a soccer ball, for example. And so we set up a project in which they would be able to do that and coupled that with interactive gaming so that after they finished engaging in these types of specific sports training activities, they would then have access to these interactive games, which consequently, is one of the reasons why the literature is what it is in terms of the contributing factors of obesity, but we used it in a positive and made it such that the students would engage in the fitness training, and then they would still have access to these interactive games that also required them to be physically active for the duration of the session. Yeah.
Wonderful. Well, let's visit with Grant and his mom and see what's happening with them at the fitness lab.
Welcome. We're here at the University of South Florida's Interactive Gaming Lab. We're joined today by Barbara Minnick and her son Grant. We're going to have some fun today talking about healthy living, exercise, and fitness. Barbara, sometimes autism can coexist with other types of chronic health conditions. Does Grant have any type of health conditions that have impacted him in any type of way over the course of?
Yes, unfortunately, autism is an autoimmune disorder, and type 1 diabetes, which is another autoimmune disorder, is also what Grant has. He also has celiac disease, so it's actually, he's got three, the trifecta as we kind of call it. So there are challenges that Grant deals with on a daily basis that interact with the autism as well as the celiacs and the type 1.
Okay. So managing his diabetes and that chronic health condition, how does fitness and maintaining a healthy lifestyle play into?
I think fitness is important for anyone, but mostly important for children who have special needs. My son would, it's a routine, so it's more of a therapy for him. It's also important for his body to be physically fit because it impacts the diabetes, and then it also impacts the brain. If you're able to organize that brain, he's able to function better. He's able to communicate better, which is really important.
Well, he looks like he's having a great time on the interactive bike, having a preference for video games already.
Absolutely.
And then attaching it to him having to engage in an exercise at the same time.
Yes, he actually will tell you that he's going to be a world famous video game player and be rich and famous.
Do you think that there's a need for more types of programs that will give you and your family more access to physical fitness? And
it actually takes a village to help children with special needs. So it takes the business community, it takes resources from legislators, it takes schools, it takes parent involvement, and then it also takes organizations like yours, the Center for Autism and Related Disabilities, to actually come together to create a program that really helps children. And fitness is one of the ways that really will help them not only today, but develop life skills.
The hardest part wasn't getting the diagnosis. It was what to do next.
What's an IEP?
Doctors, specialists,
I worry about my son's future.
autism,
It all changed with one call to CARD.
direction and connections.
Answers and resources.
Training and technical assistance?
CARD's business program filled our tables and opened my mind to new customers.
Guidance, resources, training. CARD, our beacon of light.
welcome. We're here at the University of South Florida's Interactive Gaming Lab. My name is Shelton Gilliard. I'm a consultant with the Center for Autism and Related Disabilities. And we're joined here today with Melody Pla and her son, Diego. We're here at the Interactive Gaming Lab, which is a facility here at the campus of the University of South Florida. And we've tapped into something that's, I think, is very, very valuable. We're trying to increase physical activity for individuals and young children impacted by autism. And so what we want to do is maximize something that a lot of our students already do very, very well, which are play interactive games. They're in tune to technology, but also give them an opportunity to be physically active, as a lot of our students don't traditionally have access to team sports, other types of traditional forms of physical activity. So we're here in this unique facility and talking a little bit more about healthy living and what that means for our families impacted by autism. Melody, traditionally, sometimes we've seen that autism coexists with other types of chronic illnesses. medical conditions, things like that. Does Diego have any type of chronic illnesses or disabilities, that other types of conditions that have impacted or made his autism symptoms?
No, he has no other health concerns. He does have some feeding, sensitivities where he only eats specific foods. So that can impact a lot of his weight, and his physical health in that aspect. But it's not a, quote, condition or disorder.
How important do you think maintaining a healthy lifestyle, being able to gain access to your local t-ball team or your soccer team, how important do you think those types of things are for his development, for your family? How does that kind of fit into your lifestyle?
Well, I think they're very important. Unfortunately, we have a hard time finding programs that, when he was younger would fit his special needs.
Okay.
And eventually when he progressed to where he was emotionally ready to join Little League or, the softball team, he had no fitness skills. So the other children were more advanced, and that made it, an unenjoyable experience for him.
Okay. So he has an interest, but doesn't necessarily have the skill sets, the motor planning and coordination skills necessary to make him be successful in that particular activity.
He does. He has a big interest, and
Okay.
he's very competitive.
Okay. Very, very interesting. That's something that we don't traditionally talk about when we think about students impacted by autism and some of the symptoms that make life a little bit challenging. I wanted to ask, do you think that there's a need for more programs that increase or create a greater access for different types of physical activity, physically active types of activities for students impacted by autism like Diego?
Most definitely. We're getting ready to start junior high and eventually high school, and as you know, there's opportunities to join the football team or play basketball, and that won't be possible if we can't develop those skills, because it's just going to be, he's going to be very self-conscious and not want to participate.
And I would imagine the issue of the motor planning and the strength necessary to be competitive in those types of sports at the middle school and high school level will become more of a challenge for him as he gets older.
They will.
There are a variety of different motor planning issues associated with the diagnosis of autism. Delayed coordination, movements that are non-functional. We're here in the interactive gaming lab, and one of the interactive games is called 3-Kick. If you can think about a child with autism, sometimes whenever they're given instructions, the way that their minds work is that there sometimes is a delayed response to common instructions via at home or in an academic setting. What this game does, it actually primes the student's reaction time. So what will happen, they will be presented with an audio sound stimulus as well as a visual stimulus. And the student is to react. And so what it will do is increase a child's response time if it's done in a systematic way. And it's something that we did with Diego over the summer during a direct assistance project that we held through the Center for Autism and Related Disabilities. So Diego's going to demonstrate exactly how to do 3-Kick. It's very fun, it spikes the heart rate, and he enjoys it. So he's an expert on it, so I'm going to let Diego demonstrate exactly how to do 3-Kick. That's a great job. With all that going on, I'm tired just from watching you. How do you feel?
Good.
You feel good? Yeah. You feel like you can go for another 2 minutes?
Yeah, oh yeah, definitely.
Definitely? Yeah. All right. Well, Diego, we thank you for demonstrating exactly how to do 3-Kick. As I said, with 3-Kick, it helps students like Diego increase their response time. If we're talking about academics, if we're talking about following instructions in the home environment, this type of interactive game serves multi-purposes. It allows the student to have fun in a fun environment, as well as work on response time, which is another area that a lot of our students with autism are impacted by. Ready, go. Ball, go down. Time. Come back, get your last home. Okay, now we go to the next station. Be hot. Good job, Brandon, good job. Hurdles get a little bigger each time you change the hurdles. You want to jump a little higher. Remember? Yes. It's your turn. Good job, Grant.
High five.
Good job.
I won. High five. I won.
Good job, buddy. Ready, go. So we're here at the gaming lab, still outlining and talking about the interactive circuit that we just had the kids go through. And to the untrained eye, it looks very novice, but we're actually teaching academic social skills as well. We're teaching kids color recognition, motor planning, and sequence, and all things that kids need to be successful in a variety of different environments. How would you explain, articulate Grant's experience and some of the things that you see him gaining from an experience like this?
Well, from a diabetic perspective, it's certainly helping to balance his blood sugar. It's also because of that motor planning, that's physical therapy, occupational therapy, and then from those two things, once he's able to sequence his brain, the language impairment that he has actually is he's able to communicate more because the brain is organized, the blood sugar is balanced, so he's certainly able to accomplish more in that day because of what is being provided here.
Diego, you and Grant look like you were having the best time. You were working out and staying fit at the same time.
Yes, we were.
Well, tell me this, what is your favorite sport? What's your favorite game in sport?
Well, my favorite sport is soccer because you get to hit the ball with a lot of people, and I really like the challenge. You have a lot of cardiovascular, and you have a lot of endurance whenever you play soccer.
And do you ever get out of breath, tell the truth? Because I do.
Yes, I tell the truth.
And Melody, which is Diego's mom, what's been the best programs you found out there in the community sports-wise?
Well, honestly, when he was younger, we were unable to find many community-based sports programs that could meet his needs, or being a single mother, being on a budget, there wasn't a whole lot out there for us, so we generally just scheduled play dates with neighborhood children, a lot of swimming pool, playground activities.
Well, and I say that's the way we grew up. We kicked a can and we're happy, and now we've got to drive them everywhere to Kingdom Come, but we know how important that is, so yeah. We do. So, well, what is the best way CARD helped you guys with that?
Well, they were able to give us a lot of referrals to, different places and therapists, and just having them, to give us ideas on how to handle certain issues or problems that we were having at the time.
Oh, wonderful, wonderful. So, Diego, what is the position you play? Are you a goalie, or is it a goalie in soccer?
I usually like being on the offensive. Okay. You kicking the ball.
Wonderful. And what else, if you could play anything in the world, what would it be?
Well, if there's anything I could play in the world, it would be the kicking box, the kickboxing machine.
Three kick?
Yeah, three kick.
Now, do you teach that?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, do you see?
Yeah.
I knew there was a method to this madness. Do you love PE at school?
Yes.
And what thing is your favorite? What I loved when we played something called Foursquare. What's your favorite activity at PE?
My favorite activity at PE is like dodgeball, when people throw these like rubber balls at you, because you need good dodging strategies to dodge the ball, and also like capture the Jedi, because there are like 2 Jedis per team, and just like dodgeball, you throw these soft balls at the Jedi, and you need to get both of them out in order to win.
That's what you need to go videotape.
I do.
You do. How is, Melody, how is his health and his fitness level? How is that?
Diego doesn't have any real health concerns other than some feeding issues that cause him to eat certain foods.
And again, that's all of us too, not just young people. Shelton, where can families go to find more help?
The Center for Autism is an excellent starting point to get some direction. There's a lot of family resource centers here throughout our catchment area. The YMCAs are excellent starting points. Many of them have special programs in which they can consult with the Center for Autism to help in adding additional supports that might be needed. So CARD is an excellent starting point for a lot of the service providers and youth programs in the community.
What is your best advice for families just starting on their journey?
Really to understand that change doesn't happen overnight. It is a continuous process. I've known Diego since he was 18 months old, and he's continuing to grow and change every year. Every time I meet him, he almost is eye level with me now, and I remember him when he was just a baby. And so I would have to say change, just begin to adapt a perspective that change doesn't happen overnight, and that progress will happen, but it will happen along a bit slower continuum.
And you gain the confidence as you go. As you go each little step too, and that
each little
helps.
step, because you're continuously learning as well, learning skills. I'm sure Melody probably sells herself a bit short in terms of what she's learned and been able to implement with Diego, which has kind of contributed to some of the success that he's experienced. She's learned a lot of the evidence-based practice strategies that CARD promotes and teaches its constituents, and has been able to effectively integrate it into their family's lifestyle and not making it additional work. It's just a part of the way she runs her family. And so it really makes for a successful situation and a successful environment wherever Diego is.
Love it, love it. So what would you say to moms out there and dads and grandparents? If you could tell them 1 or 2 things, what would it be?
Your efforts are basically everything that you put into it.
Well, I want to thank you all for being part of making our whole community autism friendly.